Hello, this is Mr. Bruno, and once again, this is Cartoon Theory. Now, for this theory, I'm going to talk a bit about Denzel Crocker. Out of all the characters that have been flanderized on the show, Mr. Crocker perhaps had the least bad appearances. Compare that to a few other theories I've done, like Vicky going way too far with her hatred for Timmy, or Lucy always pulling the football away from Charlie Brown, Paulina not really a bad guy, Arnold betrays Iggy being overhated. And as for Trixie, well, she didn't have a lot of bad appearances, except for just the two of us. She just turned it from being a major character into a minor character, in which she has more into a background whenever Dion Kwan wasn't available. Additionally, Trixie didn't even have that many appearances in comparison to other characters. Now, for Mr. Crocker, I'm not going to say he never had a bad appearance. The worst I could think of is Pipe Down. The reason is pretty much Timmy just muted the entire environment, including himself. Outside of that, Mr. Crocker's character remained consistent throughout the years. Sure, there are some episodes where his appearances weren't necessary, but I think that in general his characters stayed entertaining throughout the show's run, so I want to examine why that is. First of all, Mr. Crocker's voice is one of the main stars of the show and has been since the very beginning, Carlos Zaraqui. Although he hasn't appeared in every episode, he has been on the team the whole time. Even if episodes didn't have Mr. Crocker in it, might still have Carlos do other characters like the mayor. Of course, when you have the actor playing the character, you have someone who understands the character a lot better than someone who will just be the character or write for the character. Sometimes actors will feel like something happening to a character or what they're doing doesn't feel right. But if they're not part of the writing team, they might feel uncomfortable. Some shows like Rocko's Modern Life wouldn't mind having their actors ad-libbing, or while Rugrats wasn't as open to it, unless you're Jack Riley. But anyways, with Carlos, you're not going to be uncomfortable telling him, no, Mr. Crocker wouldn't do that, or why don't we have him do a silly gag? I think another important aspect of Mr. Crocker is that he hasn't been flanderized. I already talked about this in my video for Vicky. Again, named under Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. The thing about Mr. Crocker was that he was flanderized from the start, if you could say that. The only thing Denzel only had in mind is proving that fairies exist and have fairy godparents of his own. You can't simplify it down to something more basic than that. The man has two goals, and almost every episode about him is about almost achieving that goal. An important difference between Mr. Crocker and the others is that, much like Vicky, he's the villain. He's the bad guy from the start, and in every episode he's in, he's the funny antagonist, or the villainy antagonist. So in regards to the other characters having bad appearances a lot of the time, for example, just the two of us, it's when these characters do something too extreme, too mean-spirited, or just too unexpected. But with Mr. Crocker, I'm not saying you can't make him mean-spirited, but for Denzel, we know he's the bad guy. We like him and watch him, but at the same time, we're okay with him doing these things because we know he's the bad guy. It's different from Helga doing bad things, because at the end of the day, she might learn a thing or two. Sometimes, like in Miss Perfect or Girl Trouble, she will sometimes give out Karma Houdini on somebody like Arnold or Lila. But when Mr. Crocker uses Timmy, we expect it, and we know it's okay because he's the villain, and we always know that because it's consistent throughout the years. I have to say, Mr. Crocker has fared the best in the post-season 5 episodes compared to the other characters. And while he's not my favorite character, I'd probably go with Chester still, he is up there, and I like him above other characters like Sanjay, Trixie, AJ, Cosmo, Wanda, or pretty much anybody aside from Timmy and Chester. I think those three, Timmy, Trixie, and Chester, are my top favorite Fairly OddParents characters. So what do you think is the reason behind Mr. Crocker not having any bad appearances? Or do you think that maybe he has? And if you do, I would love to hear which episodes you think his character is great in. So with that, adios amigos!